Hi, I'm Laura Haywood. I wanted to tell you a little bit about why Juneau Jazz and Classics has been so important to me. And it all started for me back probably in the mid to late 90s. I've been a big fan. I've been a super volunteer. I was on the staff for two festivals, and I am now a member of the board of directors. So I've really seen it from many different angles. And it all started for me, probably it was in the 90s, mid to late 90s. And I lived in Seattle. It was before I ever thought I would move to Juneau. But I'd heard about this festival from my husband, John, who had lived in Juneau before. And my parents, especially my mother, were big chamber music fans. My mother was a complete fanatic. She played the viola not very well, but she absolutely loved it. Incredibly enthusiastic adult learner. And she loved going to these concerts because they were so intimate and so up close and personal. I remember taking her on a classical cruise, and if you've ever been the one to take a person around who doesn't walk very well, you know that the way you do it is you drop them off where you're going. In this case, it was the top of the dock at Statter Harbor. Then you go find a parking place, and when you come back, then come back and collect them. So I did that. I dropped her off, parked, came back, and she was nowhere to be seen. And I was getting a little bit frantic. I mean, I knew she'd be fine, but it was kind of a weird thing to do, take off like that. But then I looked down that long, sloping ramp, and there she was at the bottom on the arm of a very handsome young man who turned out to be a Juneau Jazz and Classics volunteer, and he had offered to escort her. So I raced down there, and it really was such a lovely cruise. If you've ever done one of those, so much fun and, gorgeous weather. And there was a moment when the whales actually upstaged the musicians. They proceeded to do some bubble net feeding. This was before I had even moved to Juneau, and I got to see that. And there were lots of people on the boat who were longtime Juneau residents who had never seen that. So that was really exciting, and the musicians loved it, didn't mind being upstaged at all. So I want to say thanks, Juneau Jazz and Classics, for giving me such a great memory of my mom.